Okay, here with Thomas Fidone after being drafted in the seventh round of the 2025 NFL draft by the New York Giants. Thomas, first of all, I guess what are your thoughts on being drafted, kind of realizing a dream?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been something that I've wanted to accomplish. I set forth, this goal at an extremely young age, really since I can never remember. I had the goal of playing in the NFL. Ever since I was a young kid, I always said this is what I wanted to do. So just being able to, bring this goal into fruition, make it, a real possibility, is definitely, you know, I think a testament to myself and just kind of, putting, in anyone out there, as long as you totally believe in something and put your mind to it, as long as it's not insane, it's possible.
Yeah. And you've gone through a lot to get to where you are, right? So from all these super high expectations in high school, hit college with super high expectations, injuries happened multiple, and then bang, like you fought through it. You could have given up, you fought through it. What was it like going through all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always said to anyone that anytime I answer this question, I always say that I wouldn't take any injuries back. I think that they helped me, and prepared me, in the person and player I am today, just mentally, as well, and physically. Shoot, I'm stronger than I've ever been, just as fast. I've showed that I'm just as I'm more explosive. I've showed that.
Mhm.
Like the injuries didn't set me back, to be honest with you. Except for the fact that I couldn't play, obviously, those 2 years, but
Yeah.
that's just the obvious. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't take it back. I think it's helped me, it taught me a lot of things like patience, and it's not always going to be on my timeline, or happen the way that I think it's going to happen. So, just being able to roll with the punches and kind of um, really stick to what I've always dreamed of, and not having any of that kind of waver.
Like, let's talk about the knee braces a little bit because this, during college, Thomas playing with a knee brace thing was like an issue for some reason.
So the knee brace, that really wasn't even my choice. That
I know.
wasn't my choice. I never rehabbed with it. I never trained with it or anything. That was just Coach Rule being a good coach.
Mhm.
Looking out for me, wanting, taking all the precautions necessary. Him being an NFL guy, that's kind of what they do. They want to take care of their players, and that's what he wanted to do with me, whether I needed it or didn't need it. I obviously, did. Me and him had numerous times where like, no, I don't want, I don't want to wear it, coach. I don't, and he'd give me shit. I'd give him shit, but at the end of the day, I knew it was love, all love, and he was just looking out for me. Me and him had a great relationship, so I'm gonna listen to the guy who coached at the highest level. I'm not gonna tell him no, obviously.
Yeah.
So I wore the knee brace. I didn't. I could care less if people didn't like it. It was, so.
Yeah, you have a. I guess I've known you for a long time, and you have this kind of. I don't know what would you call it? Would you call it chip on your shoulder, or is it more of like doubt me and I'll show you?
I mean, it's definitely both. Even before college, that's how it was.
Right.
That's how I've always been. It was an edge. I have an edge, a chip on my shoulder. Doubt me. Yeah, I mean, people, I think it's funny. Like, I've seen a lot of things on Twitter and social media. And honestly, the reason I see things on Twitter and stuff is because my family freaks out more than I do. Like, I could care less what people say, but my family, my parents, my uncles, my cousins, my grandma, freaking sending in the group chat, trying to, they're all mad and everything. So that's how I see 95% of things I see on Twitter.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I definitely have a chip on my shoulder. Always have, always will. I've always said I'm never going to be where I want to be. I'm always just striving to get better. Take that extra percent, to get better every day, no matter what it is that I do. But I think it just came from my family. And just kind of, I don't know, the way that we compete, and we're just a huge competitive family. And just kind of growing up around athletes and just competitive people in general. I think it's just developed that into me, I guess.
what was draft weekend like for you? Walk me through kind of the range of emotions, probably. You know, you thought probably you saw everything that'd be Saturday probably for you, right? Or fourth to sixth round, and then you end up getting picked in the seventh. How excruciating was like the couple days?
Yeah, so like obviously I knew I wasn't gonna go first round, right? Whatever.
Right.
So I just watched it, enjoyed watching it. I had some boys that got drafted that I became buds with through training and just recruiting and mostly like, training, exos and whatnot.
Right.
Um, and then so what I was hearing from teams and agent stuff like that, obviously we what my agent always say, he wanted to underdeliver, so I didn't
Mhm.
or didn't want to overdeliver. I don't even remember what he would say.
Yeah.
Basically, didn't want to get my expectations too high.
Right.
Um, but we had a pretty good consensus from a good majority of teams, and I spoke to almost every team. Um, well, obviously at the combine stuff like that, but I had probably over 20 Zooms, stuff like that afterwards with just tight ends coaches, sometimes the head coach on the line. Um, so it was serious Zoom meetings, which showed interest. So it was all trending in the positive direction, obviously. And then come closer and closer, we were thinking late Friday or no, late Saturday, late I don't know, late day three,
Yeah.
um, to or late round three, sorry, 3 through 5. So we were
Mhm.
thinking late third to fifth round. That's kind of what we were thinking. Um, But it is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and complain about getting drafted in the NFL. I could get, all I need to do is get my foot in the door and there's, knock it down when I get there. So,
Yeah.
um, no, I'm not. I'm just excited as long as I got an opportunity. That's all I really cared about.
When you got that call, what kind of hit you? What emotion hit you when you got the call?
Honestly, I don't even know. I was kind of numb. I was kind of just numb. It felt numb. And obviously a great way, great emotion. To receive that phone call, but it was long day. I didn't know what was going to happen. Seventh round hit, and I was like, this is a serious possibility. I might not even get drafted, which is like, obviously not what we were thinking.
Mm.
So I was just kind of I was just kind of rolling with whatever happened. Whatever I was in my mind, I was like, well, whatever happens, happens. So when I got the phone call, it was just, huge excitement. That I got the phone call. My family obviously very excited. Um, but I obviously want to prove, something that I'm better than a seventh round tight end. So
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Like, is it just I guess knowing you and being around you, yeah, I know this seventh round thing is you're gonna use that as a little motivation.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, you kind of have to, right? I mean, if you don't, I feel like that's with anybody. If you believe in yourself as a person and a player, you're obviously going to believe, you're better than that.
Mhm.
Again, I got the opportunity. That's all I care about. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. I guess I've seen you work out with other now NFL tight ends, Noah Fant being one. You guys have trained together in the past. I don't know how much you talk to Noah anymore or at all, but just being around people like that, and obviously Xavier Watts got drafted. He's um, from Omaha, and you're from the Omaha area, on the other side of the river in Council Bluffs. But how cool is kind of that connection, and then obviously having a couple, Ty Robinson got drafted too, your teammate.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Being able to see and be around people who have, got drafted and just got drafted to the next level, is awesome. Me and Xavier, shit, we trained a lot together in high school, almost probably every day.
Yeah,
My junior senior year, so we became pretty good buds. And then, like you said, like you said, Noah. Training with him and just being around someone who's been in the league and has that experience, and then getting to hear his input's been great. And then, I trained with Niles Paul for a
yeah,
good bit here lately, recently, and even before last few years. And he's always told me, that that I'm going to be successful at the next level, just from what he's seen from me and what he's seen there. And then Ty Robinson, I mean, Ty and Ash, Giff, freaking all of them, they've put in a ton of work to be, a great player and an even greater player at the next level. So I'm just really excited for everyone who got the phone call.
Mm-hmm. What is I guess reflect on your time last 1 year. Reflect on your time in Nebraska. There's ups and downs, but you got you end going to a bowl game, winning the bowl game, and super positive note, I guess, as a team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just like you said, the my experience at Nebraska was definitely a roller coaster. Ended on a positive note, obviously with Coach Rule and winning the bowl game with the boys. I think that was huge, not for us guys who were planning to leave, but also for the guys who are coming back, just to set the standard and then the trajectory of the program going forward. It's that now that's it's unacceptable if it doesn't happen, next year, or, obviously it's unacceptable if, they don't make a better bowl game, something, where they win, 9+ games, not acceptable, but that's definitely the standard that we have set forth. Shoot, I mean, I know Coach Rule wants to, be in the college football playoffs. I mean, we did too. But that's definitely a standard that's going to be held around for the young guys that came back, and I think that it's going to be good for them that they had seen us go out on top like that, and and the other way it could have been.
All right, man. Well, good luck in New York, even
I
though
appreciate it.
it's probably not the right team in New York, but we'll go with whatever.
I appreciate. Hey, we're in Jersey. Is that New York?
Yeah, well, it's whatever. Same.
I don't even know if it's in New York.
Yeah, you never. Well, you've been to New York. You just played a game there.
I know, but is Jersey in New York?
No, it's across the river. Mhm.
Okay.
New Jersey, New York, 2 states. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Well,
it's right. Yeah, you
we can cut that. We can cut that from
cut that
the
part
podcast.
out.